Hi, good afternoon. Today we're going to be doing a 737, basically engine start and understanding a little bit of what's going on with the start procedures, what's the most appropriate, and if you have a weak APU, what are our options. So a couple things also is to get yourself checklists when considering starting up a 737. It is an easy airplane to just kind of jump in and go. So you may run into that where you're kind of that kind of pilot, which is, fine for flight simming and absolutely is, fun and easy to do that way too. But what we're looking here is still the PMDg 737 800 series. I'm sorry, 700. It is an G series, so we've got the glass cockpits laid out and so forth. So a couple things that we're going to start with is understanding fuel side, understand the APU role, and then kind of doing with what you got to do with the packs. The packs and the air conditioning kits and the air supply, everything coming from I think it's a 7 and 13 stage bleed air off of the engines themselves. We'll all kind of encompass that and just see how the whole flow works. Now, when I started with the checklist, I wanted to kind of introduce you to a couple things to have in the cabin if you get a chance. Now, knee boards. Absolutely getting knee boards of any sort to help you kind of lay out all the information you need. That's important. If you could go on eBay or if you can find somewhere on the sites, you can actually get 737 operations manuals. This is a full checklist manual specifically for certain checklist procedures, including non-normal maneuvers, performance in-flight information for weight and balances, and then also non-normal checklists. Now, in the non-normal checklist, there is just all kinds of options you got to go through if you have certain failures or etc. But we do have a section here, checklist introductions. And what I did was, checklist introduction, sorry. What I did was I pulled out the appropriate quick reference checklist that allows us to kind of go through a 737 Boeing approved startup procedures and cleared for start, and therefore also our after takeoff descents and landing procedures. So that'll be kind of nice to take a look at a little bit here. But we're going to focus this video is really on the 737 start procedure. Now, the 737 is really easy actually to start. A lot of people have different techniques, ideas of when to put certain bleeds in action, when not to, and so forth. So if you look at our fuel side over here, the APU has been started, but to help the APU draw fuel and not strain its pump, we do put on the forward number one pump inboard. And this allows us to supply fuel to the APU for an easier start. We'll go ahead and start the APU. And usually you'll have your anti-collision light on for this, because it's part of the start procedure. And what we'll do is we'll wait for the APU to come on. Right now we're on ground power. The oil pressure is climbing. So right now it's low, but it'll kick on and start to climb and get to about maybe 2.5, 3 rating there. That's 2. That's 4, 6. Climbing to, you can take a better look up here. Is that 6? Yeah, going to 6. So looks like it's going to stay up there. Now that's the EGT reading on that. And with that forward fuel pump number 1 set, it's able to get the fuel there. Alright, and now we're back there to about where I said, about 3. It's going to 3.5 and 3/4. APU bus available. It's generating electricity, so we can switch over to that. For this, we won't do. I just kind of. I mean, you can't. It's not going to be an issue. Now, let's look at the packs. Normally, packs will be left in auto. Okay, with them available. As you can see, we're going to watch some pressure kick in once we activate the APU switch. The APU bleed switch basically takes that air supply, redirects it to the vanes and onto that gauge that gives us the idea of what's going on in the valve. Funny thing, a lot of people will switch and mess around with the packs. There's a reason why in the airplane, during startup, everything goes quiet during the startup procedure. It's because we're taking away a lot of the air that's being pumped into the aircraft through the APU or some of the other ground air conditioning units, or the air start car, ground start cart. And what will happen is we're going to go ahead and just take out both of these packs. Just turn them off. That's it. Just turn them off. Now, if you have a strong APU and you don't have something that's worn down, years older, etc., this start procedure is going to just go really fast. Nothing fancy with this start procedure. Just go to number 2. Usually you want to do number 2 because you got jetways and ground crew on the number 1 side. It's not until you're fully backed up that you're going to be able to do that. Number 2 is our right engine. Number 1 is our left engine. Again, since we're here, parked over here, this is what we're doing, kind of getting this to start up. Okay? So if we just kind of watch from this side, we'll start the number 2 engine. Yeah, there's no pressure. It's got low pressure on that side, but it's more than enough. We have dedicated all that pressure to starting with that engine. Now look at that pressure start to climb. That means you've got successful supply. It's entering the number 2 engine. If we look down here, we're ready to start that fuel flow. Some people do it after 1.0. I've been told also do it at 2.0. It works the same way. Go down here to the fuel lever switches. Take them from D10. Cut off the supply. Okay, so now watch that fuel flow start climbing. We're going to get the exhaust temps start to climb too, and the N1. And that's starting up over there. Little smoke. And we've got the number 2 successful start. With the auto start switches, once it's fully engaged, it will automatically kick into off, meaning that procedure is completed. You repeat the same procedure from number 1. No messing with the packs. You just leave it alone the off, with the APU being the primary supply. Once again, we look down here, we're having the fuel flow we need. The N1 blades are rotating. Get that N1 up to 2.0, and then once we add the fuel, we'll see it. So some correction up there. Okay, watch that fuel flow. It's coming up, means we're adding fuel to the system. The N1's holding at 2.9, which is what's the max fat starter performance. EGT, waiting for that. Now, if you know Milwaukee right now, there's a bunch of people's cars that are parked over there that work at Hawthorne and are just getting sprayed, so it's kind of fun. Alright, we've got the N1 successful, fuel flow is good to go, and we've got the exhaust temps and the starter kicked off. That is your starter procedure. Really easy. Anyone else going to tell you anything else? It's just some finagled way of starting the 37. Go ahead and start your pumps. Get the centers ready. That way, if you have those off and they're not configured, you will get a center warning indication off of this display that'll let you know you need to configure the center pumps, booster pumps to go ahead, or the fuel pumps, to go ahead and start supplying fuel. Okay, so now both sides are good. You can add the gen power information, or power bus to the the supply bank. APU will be on standby and available, so is the ground. We'll disconnect and go through that whole procedure. That might be a little out. We may have wanted to actually be disconnected from ground power during the start. So, again, that's kind of part of that whole pushback procedure on that checklist we can review on another video. Go back to those packs and put them back in auto. Now you can add back the air supply to the cabin. Okay? And then finish off the entire electrical. Okay, everything cleared up there. Make sure you get your yaw dampener added in there, otherwise you'll have a caution, massive caution on. And then you'll still have this air conditioner light until you take the APU out of service on that line. It clears that out, you're good to go. And now you can leave the APU on for your taxi and your takeoff as a backup. This is specific to airline procedures, but better safe than sorry. If you know how the whole Hudson flight happened, an APU being available instantly after that climb out would have been terrific. It does burn more fuel, does end up costing money, that's why they do save it, but having the APU run during climb. Is a power source available on demand if anything happens? Of course, all APUs have to be turned off before 12.5, where they're starved of the oxygen necessary to operate efficiently and safely. So we turn it off before. I usually turn it off once I clear 10,000. Alright, so that's a brief startup video. If you have any questions or any ideas of how to maybe refine that, or you've got questions about the packs, go ahead and write in the notes there. I'll definitely respond to it. As you can see, the startup is very, very easy and efficient. I took a little research on my end. I went literally to Boeing checklists and found exactly what had to be done. So if you have any other questions on that, we should look into it. If you guys are interested, I can do one for the 57. There's a lot of little doodads I did miss in the checklist just to kind of get this done. Otherwise, we would have been here another 15, 20 minutes. All right, there you go.